Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is Thursday the 6th of November and today we are going to talk about a little bit about Novo Nordisk, the Danish weight loss and insulin pharma company that has been in trouble for quite some time. So, I mean, they're still making a ton of money, but the growth potential wasn't as good as anticipated, which we found out about last year. And it came out with a profit warning yesterday. It was a little bit expected, but apparently not as much as this. So the share price has been sent lower. And it comes on back of laying off about 9,000 people worldwide, and now we are almost back to the lows where we were here in August, and that was after breaking the bullish trend that it actually established here on the short term, and it was trying to establish also on the medium term trend, but that didn't hold up. So it actually was sent back now, and then now we are trading just around 300 again. Market hasn't opened just yet here in Europe or in Denmark, where it is trading primarily. We can check what it did last night in US. It's bounced a little bit, but of course you also have to take into account the euro dollar or the dollar Danish kroner currency exchange. So you can see trading around these lows here again, and let's just go back to the Danish one, because that's the primary listing. So it's still bearish. Let's see if it can bounce today. Maybe it can form a big double bottom here, but let's see about that. But for now it is under pressure and it is like catching a falling knife at the moment. Let's see how that will develop. Their biggest competitor, Lilly, on the other hand, is pushing, is in a bullish trend, pushing higher towards its previous. I think this is all-time highs here back from August last year, and it's getting close to that. So it seems like they are faring much better than Novo Nordisk, and they are also much less employees and making also a ton of money as Novo Nordisk. But it seems like they have, as Novo Nordisk, also have a new CEO, a new board and everything. So a lot of turmoil and uncertainties. We don't like that when we are trading in the markets. Moving on to the US market yesterday, let's have a look at the overall market. Nasdaq 100 did bounce a little bit back yesterday after some selling pressure here the previous day. We're still in a bullish trend. It is a correction phase, however. 25,136 is the first key support area. It will not, if it closes below that, it will not demolish the bullish trend, but it will just pause it a little bit, maybe because we could see lower levels. And here pre-market, we are a tad lower. Let's have a look at S&P 500 here. It is 6,755. That is the first key support here. If we move into that, well, then we are in this range trading here. 6,550 is still the key support. If we close below that, then we have a bearish trend. So not there yet. Dow Jones also still above its support. Moving on to the pre-market on S&P 500, also a little bit lower compared to the close yesterday. That was a little bit of a bounce. So let's see about how it will fare today. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, then we could see the selling pressure coming back. On the Asian market, we had Seng pushing up 2% this morning. So again, 26,560, a close above that will establish a bullish trend. And if RSI also closes back above 60 threshold, which I think it will do, if it closes above this resistance there, then we have a bullish trend on Hang Seng confirmed. Nikkei, massive volatility the past 24 hours, 36 hours or so. Massive sell-off there yesterday, but it bounced back. This is the future, so it's a little bit different if it was the Nikkei cash index, and now it's sliding back a little bit here again. So it is very stretched, so everything could play out, so be careful there. EuroStoxx50 opened lower yesterday, but bounced strongly and kept itself above 5,635. As you can see, also divergence here, RSI values declining, where market actually moved higher. So we are a bit stretched there short term, and could still be in for some rough rides. And here pre-market, we can see market is about to open. The CFD is setting back a little bit, but still holding on above 5,600. The DAX index bounced from the support here at 23,684, bounced strongly yesterday. Cannot keep up. We still have positive sentiment on the RSI, but DAX needs to close about 24,340, and here pre-market we can see we are a tad lower. So let's see, we're still a little bit on the negative side. Moving on to the forex markets, and here we have euro dollar in this bearish trend here, bouncing a little bit today, but we are in a bearish trend and negative sentiment indicating likely lower levels on the euro dollar that could take it down to 114. But I think we could see a little bit of a bounce up to maybe test the upper falling trend line here. On sterling dollar bouncing from 130.15 support, and we can see where it comes from. It comes from, you know, levels back here, these levels here, and if it takes out the lows here, which I believe it will eventually, but now we are in for a bounce that could take it maybe just above 131, 131.40 maybe, but we are in a bearish trend, negative sentiment on the RSI, likely to push lower towards 129, 128.60. The euro sterling stalling a little bit. It is in a bullish trend, however. And also, if we look at the weekly chart, we can see how we are in a bullish trend, fairly strong bullish trend. It is eyeing 88.50 and 89, but it is struggling a little bit for real momentum. And so let's see here the next few days. So expect a lot of volatility, but we are in a bullish trend. Dollar yen. Can't really break this resistance area here at 154.40. Has spiked above, but it's stalling now, basically trading sideways. What will it do? Will we see a larger correction, because we actually do have divergence, so we are a little bit stressed there, but bullish trend is still intact. However, if it takes out the lows from yesterday at 152.95, then I think we could see a further setback, maybe down to 152, but it needs to get back below 151.50 for a bearish trend establishment. Also, euro yen that tested and bounced from the 786 retracement 175.65 here, and has bounced. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, well, then we could see a push down to around 175, maybe dipping a little bit below. And again, it needs to get below this level here to establish bearish trend. Still bullish, despite the fact that there is divergence, there is a bullish trend exhaustion. However, if RSI moves back above 60 threshold, and especially above the falling trend line, then we could see higher levels. It could be an indication of that. Aussie yen spiked to the 50% almost there, and still in a bullish trend, despite the fact we do have divergence. So a little bit uncertainties here, but look at this. We have the moving averages for 100 and the 55 coming up, indicating that the underlying trend is still there, and in bullish is just stalling a little bit at the moment. And what you can do if you're still very short-term trader, then you say, all right, let's see what we can trade on here. And we are currently around the 61, or we move to the 61.8 retracement at 100 spot 30. You could do that when you see that spike there. Okay, where can it bounce to? So this is the way to work with it. The sterling yen bounced from just above 190.99, didn't get all the way down there to the 198.86 there. before it bounced. So very uncertain of what's going on here, really. It didn't close this gap there that it was created here earlier this month. So now it seems to be bouncing here also. Let's see about if it can move higher. So the bigger picture is that sterling yen is actually in a bullish trend. As we can see, it is just slowing down quite significantly. But it is also a currency pair that is really historically very volatile. So it is really, be careful if you're trading it. I think it will eventually crawl higher. Still positive sentiment on the RSI bounced from the 40 threshold, so still in a positive sentiment. So underlying sentiment is still positive. Aussie dollar, very volatile also, but as we talked about for so long, it failed to close above the cloud. It failed to close RSI above 60 threshold, so the sentiment is still negative, but very volatile in a bigger range here, really. So not a clear direction. So let's have a look at the medium term to say, and again, not a clear direction, really. So sometimes that's how it is. You can't always get a clear picture of what's going on. You can just try to trade what is actually in front of you. And let's take this here also, if you're working with it with your Fibonacci's and use them as a guideline. You have bounced here 38.2 to 65.19. I think we will bounce up to the lower part of the cloud and the 61.8 retracement there at 65.55 area, where we also have the 55 moving average coming up. So still dragging on a little bit, but it really needs to close above the cloud, and RSI needs to close above 60 threshold to really confirm a bullish trend, and it hasn't done that, and we need confirmation. Dollar Canada, bullish here, and I think there's no divergence. Let's have, that was the wrong one I put on there, so let's get rid of that. Sorry about that, that was the wrong one I picked. So let's see, if we put a horizontal line, we can see we are actually maybe slightly divergence on the RSI, but bullish trend. But we had this candle here yesterday where market spiked higher and then collapsed a little bit. So we have like a shooting star-like pattern, and it depends what we will see today. We'll see a bearish candle or we will see a bullish candle. If we see a bearish candle, then we can see another setback. And if you are a very short-term trader, you can then add a Fibonacci to these levels here. There we are. And maybe we have a setback down to around 140.45, the 38.2 retracement there. But still bullish trend. The sterling Canada can't really get out of this range here. I think it will move to the bearish side, but again, confirmation is needed, and it needs to take out the low there at 183.23, so 183.20 to continue its bearish trend down to around these levels over here. Let me show you these levels over here. Around 182 is in the cards, because we are actually in a negative sentiment and a bearish trend. So let's see about that. The EURUSD spiked just above the 61.8, or trading around the 61.8 retracement there. Can't get above the 55 moving average. RSI currently still being rejected at the 60 threshold, so we are in a still negative sentiment. There's no divergence. I think we will turn around eventually, but let's see, can still move up to the 786 retracement and the 100 moving average here just around 93.37, around that level. It could still be seen, but if it takes out the lows there from yesterday, then we could see a push down to these lows here, and that will confirm the bearish trend to resume. So stalling a little bit here. So keep an eye on, if it takes out the peak there from yesterday, then we could see it up there. Dollar Swiss also in a bullish trend, indicating higher levels, positive sentiment on the RSI. So that can it can move to the resistance around 80, 81, 50, 81, 70. And let's remove this one. It's annoying. Sorry. possibly pushing higher. Little bit of a setback. It's not that convincing, but I think eventually it will crawl higher, given that we also have positive sentiment on the other side. The dollar index seems to be forming maybe a top and reversal like panel. We had a bullish move up here. Then we had a doji here yesterday. We spiked just above 100, spot 22, just one pip or 1 cent from the 161.8 projection of this correction here. So I think we will see a correction pushing lower. And let me show you what I will then do. I'll move these to the left, and then we'll add a Fibonacci to the right. Where can we place it to? And right there where we can slide back, and we could possibly slide back down to around the 99.30 area, which is the 38.2 retracement and the strong support here, because we also have the 200 moving average coming down, and that is putting a little bit of a lid on it. However, we are in a positive sentiment. There's no divergence, so after correction we could have another push higher. Moving on to metals and gold, start with that as always. A bit range bound here between 4,045, 4,046, always round up a little bit, and to 38.86 to the downside. So that's where we are caught a little bit here in this correction phase. Will it take out to the downside or to the bullish side? If it takes out to the bullish side, well, then the uptrend is likely to resume with a push above 4,100 up to 4,162, where we have some resistance in this area. Still positive sentiment on the RSI. So let's see. There were divergence, of course, on the. So it was quite stretched, this bullish trend. So let's see, 40 threshold if we move back below here, and I think we'll do that if gold closes below 38.86. So wait for a breakout of the range. More or less the same picture on silver. Obviously, we have bouncing. And if it can take out 49.40 here, then we have re-established the bullish trend, and we could push higher above 51. The platinum, well, also caught range bound here between 14.94 and 16.62. Quite wide range, I know that, but that's how it is at the moment. There's no clear direction. Yes, there's positive sentiment, but there was also divergence, meaning it was stretched. So let's see. However, we do have all moving averages rising. So the underlying trend is actually still bullish. Copper bouncing from the 100 moving average and from the 786 retracement at 492, just around that level. I think we'll keep bouncing. So what you can also do here, then you can also move these here to the left, so it gives you a little bit not so cramped up picture of everything. So we add this, and let's see if it can bounce further. Still positive sentiment on the RSI. There was divergence, but if RSI moves back above 60 threshold, then I think we'll see copper back in a bullish trend, and if it can get back above the cloud. So we are kind of neutral at the moment in this big range here. 482 is the key support, where we also had the 55 moving average breaking above the 200 forming a gold cross. So underlying trend is bullish, is just pausing, it seems. Moving on to the energy market and WTI crude oil testing minor support here at the moment, but we are in a bearish trend, and I think it will resume with a push lower here in the coming days and weeks. For now, it needs to get back above 62.60 to establish maybe a meaningful bullish trend, but then we have some overhead resistance here about 64.27, where we also have the 100 moving average coming down. So we are in still negative sentiment. We are in a bearish mood at the moment. Brent crude oil below its 64 support at the 50% retracement. I think it will also see it push it lower towards 61.8 here the coming days, and possibly lower. Still on the European nat gas, not much to say. I mean, it's sliding lower, or it is in this slightly lower trend-like pattern here, but still in the bigger picture, it's just range bound with a negative sentiment, so should push to the bearish side. We can also see that 100 moving average is coming down. Here we are below the cloud. So it seems like Europe has its a nat gas storage for the winter. Maybe we are not buying. We are still buying from Russia. We are still buying from Russia and funding the war, unfortunately. Top and reversal pattern here in the bearish engulfing on nat gas. US nat gas yesterday should form a top and reversal, and we should have a setback. Maybe it won't be that big. We are in a bullish trend, a positive sentiment, no divergence on the RSI, indicating to move higher. And if you're thinking about what I'm talking about, RSI divergence and imbalance and all that, there is on my here on my YouTube profile there or channel, there is a an educational piece about how to use a relative strength index. So moving back to the US nat gas, 440 is a fairly strong resistance, it seems, and we are setting back, but we are also still in a bullish trend and could push higher after a correction. Moving on to yields, we have the US 10-year Treasury yield that pushed higher here the past a little bit more than a week, just below minor support there at 417, could move up to 420. 420 is really the key level to watch out for, and the strong resistance area. We also have the 100 moving average coming down. However, we are now back in the positive sentiment here, so we could push higher in the coming weeks. But if it takes out the lows from yesterday there at 405, then downtrend, short-term downtrend could resume. Still, medium-term is bearish. On the European markets, the European Treasury yields got up to the 61.8 retracement there at 268, then setting back. If it takes out the peak there from yesterday, expect a move up to around 272, which is the 786 retracement, where we have a little bit stronger resistance. The 10-year we in UK bounced yesterday. I think it will bounce further here the coming days towards 452. Japanese, not much to say about, crawling a little bit higher today, so still keeping this bullish trend. And finally, let's move on to cryptos and Bitcoin, where we can see, well, it spiked lower here the past few days, below 100,000, but got back above. And still, well, it is in a bearish trend, as you can see. So let's see if it can bounce further, and buyers will come back in. If it takes out the lows from the past 2 days, well, then we could see it pushing lower towards 95,000. Ethereum, more or less the same picture, below the support there at 33.54. Bearish trend. Strong support area down here around 2800. Could slide lower to that level. All right, that's all for today. That was a little bit of a long one, but have a nice day and be careful out there.